Probably. She normally makes these ones. Allison is. You know, I don't have one of these for. I have one for. No. We haven't found someone to replace Cameron.
Okay.
Who am I missing? Anybody?
Mr. White, do you have?
It's currently 5 o'clock.
So we're gonna go ahead and call the meeting as soon as we know what's back, just so that we have our.
Smells like a full application.
Am I missing someone?
A patron.
Board?
A patron.
We're waiting for you to open the meeting.
God, is this fine?
Allison, I have the thing for Allison. That's his.
All right.
Allison has a medical issue and is going to attend by Zoom.
Okay.
If we don't get much reverb through there.
Is that? Hello, Allison.
Can you hear us? Oh, I'm muted.
And let's move Michael Mistratio now to one of the other chairs there, so we
Our-
maintain so-called
Can you
separation.
hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Are you?
What's that?
Can we actually do roll calls today? Since we're here?
Yes.
You can.
So,
Oh, no, I thought you meant
We don't
identify,
have
sorry,
to
identify
identify,
where we're located. No, let's possible.
all right, so we have Allison. We're gonna go ahead and call the meeting to order. We're gonna stand for the
Pledge
allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, I need to. Sorry. Wales,
Here.
Yost,
Here,
Johnson, Nevedal,
Here.
Troyani,
Here.
Basham, Roberts,
Here.
and Holler.
Here.
Thank you. So before we have the.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Holler, I need to know where you're located.
Kalkaska County.
Thank you.
Before we have the approval of the agenda, I would like to add an item in regards to retaining a storage unit for the DDA equipment in the police department garage.
so if that change, I'll make a motion to accept the agenda as amended.
Second.
Don't, I think we should dispense with roll calls.
Yeah, so all in
Anything about money, so.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yes.
And object? And so, we have approval of the minutes. Well, we have two, so can we do that together or do we need to do them separate?
It's really up to you.
And perhaps Mr. Roberts could move away from that table so we get adequate separation. Just a suggestion.
So, entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to accept both minutes.
Second, Yost.
All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Any objections? Thank you. And do we have any public comments today? We see none in our lobby here, meeting online. No public comment. We have no presentation, no correspondence. So committee reports. DDA staff, do you have anything you want to highlight?
Well, yeah, I want to add to the Gosling Zuback saga. I met a conference call with their environmental engineering department. And there is, the bottom of the tank is in the groundwater and there's evidence of product in the groundwater. So they forwarded all the information of phase 1, phase 2 to A1. A1 got it today and they're going to work on what that cost would be. So we have to play the game of, do we purchase, what's it going to cost to rectify this whole situation and if there needs to be any remediation. So we've got a lot of pieces to work with. One of the options, if we don't purchase, is to use Sandy Pines Drive and attempt to get an easement from them to go around Duval's property. The other one is there's a 36-foot strip on the north side of Pacific Pride that hooks up with the bigger piece. But Gosling raised questions about being able to use that because of the way the MDOT drive has to go. It's sandwiched right between two driveways, and it would end up being this one great, huge, contiguous driveway. And they don't know if MDOT would allow that. So I'm just doing more research, trying to get all the pieces put together. And then we can, if we choose, we can renegotiate with Duval's or whatever needs to be done. The good news on Railroad Square is I spoke with Grand Traverse Construction and they've scheduled the parking lots at both sides of the museum to begin the Monday after Trout Festival. So hopefully we can have that all done before the farmers market starts. And today at the EDC meeting, they opted that Kalkaska County participate in a regional resilience program, which is up to $5,000 grant for businesses with 9 employees or less. And it would, all those applications would actually be gone over locally in Kalkaska with the EDC. And right now, in the pot, there's 20,000 designated from the overall venture fund, and the EDC committed to additional $10,000 for just Kalkaska County. And Tim Irvin, I don't know, maybe few of you know him, he's got some more donations online for the region in general. So we may get up to $40,000, $50,000 out of this. And so kudos to the EDC for stepping to the window.
Question for
The grants for what were the grants for?
Regional resiliency for kind of rebounding from COVID.
Oh, so it's another COVID grant.
Yeah,
It is.
only this one isn't going through the state or the federales and getting scored off in Washington or Baltimore. It's going to be reviewed by people locally who literally know the businesses. So that's a really good thing because so many people complained in the past, you know, we're out there with 200,000 other applications and we get lost in the merry-go-round. So it's really, really a cool deal.
And there are very specific criteria.
Yeah.
Like less than 9 employees.
And one of the criterions is need. You know, some people might fit the questionnaire, but their business is in dire need as some of the other businesses who've really struggled. So that's one of the pieces of the scorecard. It'll be pretty easy to administer. They've already set up the press releases for it. So you just fill in Kalkaska County and the dates for launch. We're hoping we launch the first week of May and have Venture North will distribute the funds. Once someone's selected, Venture North gets their electronic banking information, and the next day they get the money. It's not like you have to wait for a month or 2. It's a very quick way to do it. Venture North did a really good job of organizing it.
It's a grant, it's not a loan.
It's a grant.
We had in President, refresh my memory, we were going over that Vista Village property about a month ago. Wasn't there a small parcel down near what we consider to be the trailhead?
That's what he's talking about.
Yeah.
36.
Okay, that one.
That's the
Village
one
owns.
that
Yeah.
MDOT may have an issue with us putting a driveway there.
Yeah, on the map, it shows that's right where we cut in on the road too with the easement. I don't know what it does to that.
Does
Yeah.
that help at all in the project?
What's that?
I mean, you're factoring that in if that helps. So,
Yeah, there, we wouldn't have to purchase a piece of property, but it would be much less eye appealing. To have the parking lot behind Pacific Pride, you wouldn't be able to see it. It wouldn't be lit. Out by the sidewalk, we already have the street lights there, so it'd be really easy to see, and it'd be convenient for lighting also. So we just have to keep putting pieces together and evaluate the project as it proceeds. The good news is we didn't rush into this for this month.
Right.
For this 30th of this month, we'd have screwed it all up. So it gives us time to get,
Because of the environmental, you mean?
yeah, we'd have literally had to purchase the property already. And then we'd be stuck with the environmental issue.
If we share the environmental results with Ms. Bowles.
I have not gotten to her yet. She's on my agenda.
Well, good luck. I will look forward to that. I appreciate what you're doing.
I just want to add to Cash is as far as Railroad Square, just so that Scott and Harley are aware, I have asked Larry to set up a meeting so that we can, before any work starts, so we are all on the same page, so the village knows when things are going to start. Because on top of that is all of the checklist items that we need to get completed. And then I just wanted to let everyone know that we've got a lot of calls on renting the pavilion. And so and the boots truck. So if everything goes through with the council on Monday, I have emails set to send all of those agreements out to all the requested dates and also for the food truck. So, and for the Trout Festival. And then most of those folks are ready, they're waiting, they're expecting it on the 13th. So I told them it's all up in the air until the council approves everything.
On that same note, I have an article coming up this week that states that exact same thing, that the schedules will be ratified by council on the 12th, and then they'll be available online, is how I put it. So I hope you like it.
And then I just wanted to touch base there on the agenda. There is a agenda item on the Community Development Fellowships fellowship host site, and I just wanted to, because I know you guys we're gonna talk about it later, but just as I don't know if everyone got a chance to look at the information, but it's basically having an extra person for 18 months, and they would be assigned to, if we get it, would be assigned to the DDA. The salary is paid by CDAM and MEC, and there's a match of $6,000. So I don't know if everyone took a look at that, but we can talk more about it. But I just wanted to kind of, if you didn't get a chance to look at the information, it's basically having an extra person for economic development, and that's really what their job is going to be, is to help us with economic development in Kalkaska.
Where was that at?
It's at the end of the agenda. It's the last item. It was in the, it's actually, it's the fellowship program. It's the last thing in the packet.
Oh,
Anyone have any questions or any more questions?
Super quick question. I was just wondering if we got someone to do the community.
Yeah, so I was going to get to that when,
We get to the updates.
yeah, well, there are, and we can talk about it right now. So, let's put that in here. I did get 2 quotes to clean the pavilion. One was from Top Shelf Cleaning, and theirs is $85 for the kitchen, $75 for the hall. Doing both kitchen and hall is $160. And then I got another one from
What is the hall? The
Pavilion.
the main, like eating and that
And the
also
bathroom.
include the bathrooms.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the pavilion, this one is from BAM cleaning service. And theirs is $50 for the pavilion or kitchen and $70 together. So if they rented both the pavilion and the kitchen, it would be $70 for the entire building, or $50 Christmas. If they only rent the kitchen, it's $50. If they only rent the pavilion, it's $50. If they rent both, it's $70. So I made a change to, and we can talk about that later, but the fee schedule, if anyone looked at the fee schedule, we can discuss that when we get to that agenda item.
Again, appreciate everything you guys are doing.
And I have to add that we have no positive responses on a in-quote property manager. Everyone that I've talked to is like done eye rolls after a while, and it's a very unique position.
And basically what we're doing right now is I'm scheduling, people are contacting me and I'm scheduling them. I'm actually doing tours, so if someone wants to see the space, I set up a date and time to go there. And I think right now, until we either get a property manager, we can at least gauge what this is going to entail and take to actually do. And then I think at the end of the year, Kat and I will probably do a summary, and then we'll decide then what needs to happen. And then get a process in place way before we ever hand this over to the village. So I think it's gonna be at least 2 or 3 years, and then we'll have this true process in place so that when we hand it over to the village, it's very seamless. The village doesn't have as much touches as they would need to, so that they don't have to add staffing to their hopefully not to have to add staffing. So we'll have to see what that looks like.
Move on to projects and promotions and the farmers market.
Oh,
It was in there.
yeah, I know. I just,
Did you have anything you wanted to highlight?
no, I looked at my notes and they were very,
Did anybody have any questions for items for items, budgets, promotions? All right, thank you. Website committee? Or actually,
oh, I can highlight the fact that there is gonna be a running event after the first downtown stroll. Just fun, scheduled so far, and then hopefully it gets promoted and people actually try it out and enjoy it. And then if that is a thing that there's a good turnout for, which I hope I'm not the only one that shows up for, then maybe we can like explore doing more. Like that was Cash's original suggestion. We're trying it like one time and we see what the turnout is. So I just wanted to share that because that was not in the notes. I mean, I did put links to what a non-circle is because there was a question about that, but it's been officially booked.
the visual content committee?
So in the brief report, two quick items. First one, we'd like you guys to consider changing the name of the Facebook page to Explore Kalkaska. It would still contain the, DDA contact information and DDA mission and so forth. The name itself, consider changing to Explore Kalkaska. And then the other thing we'd like you to consider, a plugin, a scheduling plugin, might make your guys's, just the administrative work of scheduling Railroad Square a bit easier. So if you'd like, we can experiment with that.
So do we need to, the Facebook page?
I guess can I ask a question? What do you mean by scheduling a plugin for Railroad Square? I guess I would just want to know what that means.
So what it would, do you want me to
Yeah.
explain? Okay. So what it would be is on the homepage of our website, it has like a Railroad Square section, and it would say book now. So you click that button and it would take you to a calendar of all the available dates and times where they could schedule, put in their information, what day they wanted the time. They now would then get an email And then it was moved further along with that. And I'm not sure if we want to set, we haven't completely researched on the full scope of it, but we wanted to make sure that was like something that we'd be interested in before we actually spent that time working on it.
So
Right.
it's like a form. So it's
Yeah.
like
Like a, you know, like how you make a schedule or
yeah,
reservation for a
yeah.
restaurant?
So it's like a
Like
form
that.
that they can fill out with the dates and everything, and then it gets sent to me with that
And
information.
it would, yeah.
It's an automated way of doing it.
Yeah, we cut down on the type of phone call saying, is this such and such date and time available? Yes, it is. No, it's not. What's available? They would see that right from the outset.
It would be like, yeah, like booking a reservation for a restaurant that you do online now kind of thing.
No, I got it. I have
Is
the
this
same.
something that you guys are doing, making yourself? or you
No, there's a
purchase
lot
it?
of programs for it, depending on if like we wanted to take payment or we wanted to do all that with the program. I looked at a bunch of different ones because I'm actually working on using one for my business as well. And I think we could get one for free or $10 tops a month. So it's not something that's very expensive.
Are you ready to make a recommendation on which one to get, or are you just looking for our sense of we're interested?
Could we do maybe get a recommendation of no more than like $25 a month, something like that, and
Well,
then
I just have a couple of questions,
Okay.
because it's gonna come to me, so I have to know it. So I guess my question would be, I understand they're gonna book it, and they will have it there temporarily. I think my concern would be our criteria that we would have before we actually confirm that they have it.
we'd
And
have
when-
It's more of a request. I don't think it's gonna be a.
No, because you're saying it goes onto a calendar so that it shows that those are booked or
we
not?
would have to. I'll have to research it.
Okay.
But I would make sure. I think one of the requirements that we want is that you would have to approve it before it was official.
Yeah, it's not a confirmation.
Some of the ones I've used show open, tentative, and confirmed.
Hmm.
So when someone goes in and requests that date,
You say 10.
it actually goes on hold until it's
That's
processed.
what we would need.
And I've booked a lot of things that way.
Yeah, I
How do you
just
keep
get-
someone from just booking things,
Right.
putting them in a cart and tying it up then?
Right, that's what, that
There's
that
a
was my
lot we
next
haven't
question.
really worked through with it. Maybe we don't get approval if it's something this week, but if it's something you wanted, we research it more and then kind of
Well, it sounds
present
like
it
it would
with all
save
the.
staff time to at least be able to check a calendar and see what's available.
I think it's a great idea, we have to just make sure that,
It would go to pending status.
well, I'm not even sure if we want it on pending status. I think it actually needs to go through an approval before it actually becomes pending, because there's some criteria, and we wanna make sure that it's an appropriate event, because I do know like there's things like, we don't wanna do anything too formal, because we don't want to compete with Milcon. So there are some things that the committee had determined, we have to meet those criteria
You know-
before it becomes tentative. I guess
You
that's
know
what.
how the health department, if you want to look up the COVID, like it just shows you what date you can click on. It just shows you what's available and that's it. Like maybe there's a way to just grab like anybody that's trying to pending stuff, have it like grayed out. So it's just not available to click on, and multiple people, can't click on the same thing. There's no status about it. It just is waiting for the check. Something like that.
No, I think it's a great idea. I think the form and the request and having that automated would be
Yeah, it
great.
would
So
just
I
have
would,
to
I
be
do want
approved
you guys to
before it
continue.
was official.
Yeah.
So we have to make sure that was possible.
Yep.
Make sure it was clear to them that it was not approved until they
Yes.
get confirmation, et
Yep.
cetera. That-
Right.
And then it would also, if we went this route, even if we didn't do the book now, we still wanna put like schedules on our website, stuff like that, so it's easy access, people can just.
How does, so it's essentially a calendar, if I wanna know if it's open in the third weekend in June, I can
Yes.
look at it, and then it's up to me to make the phone call or whatever to actually book it.
You would submit your information to book it. You could do that on it, but
But not pay, but to book it, you'd have to pay for
we
it.
won't pay, we won't do that.
You can
We won't-
submit your interest.
it would basically say, I wanna, so you go to the calendar, I say, oh, my date I want to open. I would click that date, and then I would say how long I wanted it for, what I wanted, my information, and then that would be sent to Gaynell, and then Gaynell would approve and contact the person or something like that.
And collect the funds.
And then if it didn't go through, you know, could clear it out so that it showed up as available once again, so
Yes.
somebody couldn't just book something.
Exactly.
I want to book these 3 weekends to save them.
Just in case,
Without
right?
intent.
That's why I'm like, I don't
Yeah, I
think
can
let's
see
do the whole
A
month. and
bad
then
actor.
all of a sudden,
tying up
nobody.
Okay.
Well,
And then how does the calendar ever get updated then? Who does that to update calendars so it's booked up?
It probably would end up with me I would probably have to click or confirm or something like that. And yeah, once all of the paperwork is completed and payment or deposit has been made.
And then it'd have to be populated with how many are already booked.
Right.
I assume it's already
Yeah.
Yeah, and we can.
We'll definitely sit down with Gaynell if that's
Yeah.
something that gets
Well, it
implemented.
sounds like there's actually more homework to do on your part before you're ready for us to authorize it.
Yeah, I think as long as the interest is there, then we'll spend the time like
Seems
moving
like it
forward.
makes interest, yes, and as far as changing the name.
It's beautiful.
Beautiful idea.
Explore what they're
What we're
doing.
doing.
Do we need a motion for that, or can we just change it, or how do you
I
guys?
think you guys are good to go.
Okay. One final thing, really quick. If you are so inclined for the website, headshots of everyone for the board members that you can attach to the website. If everybody's agreeable, and you have a JPEG or a PNG or a digital file, a headshot that works for you, you can email it to one of us. If you don't think it's a good idea,
I think a headshot with a bio would be pretty cool, so people would know who you are, but it's up to the board. And if you don't have a picture, we can always go around and take a picture, right, Rochelle?
Yeah, so if you have one already that you like, just send it over, and then if not, I can, the next board meeting, just let me know to bring my camera and I can take one for you.
Who should they send it to? Should they send it to?
John or me?
it'll get to the right place, any one of us.
I should send to.
We'll be turning on probably all black and white, so they're kind of like uniform, so they like match, but.
Beautiful.
Does anyone have any questions for the committee?
You're saying that I got my hair dyed for no reason?
Oh my God.
She just said,
There'll be shades of gray, Sorry.
I don't have questions, but I certainly would like to thank the committee for all their hard work, and I know that it has been a lot of work for that committee. And hopefully, if we get that person for 18 months, maybe we can have some of the tasks of managing some of that social to lighten the load a little bit. Those who worked so hard over the last year.
Yeah, thank you, Don and Rochelle and Allison. You guys did an amazing job with the website. It's just glorious.
It's Allison and Michelle.
Oh, stop.
I'm so not true.
Move to current business authorization for expenditures.
What's looking for, boss?
Make motion.
Hey, I'll make that motion.
All
right.
I'm team player here.
I need a second team player.
A second.
Right.
All these people tied for second.
I give it to Rochelle.
All right. Johnson,
Yes.
Pariani,
Yes.
Wales,
Yes.
Yost.
Yes.
Pollard.
I had a hard time hearing. What was it?
This is a motion to authorize expenditures.
Oh, yes.
Nevedal,
Yes.
Roberts,
Yes.
Asham.
Yes.
And the cash balance report. Entertainment.
That motion.
Second.
Oh, he beat you.
Sorry.
All in favor?
Right.
Any objections? Thank you. And the revenue and expenditure report? Again, entertain a motion to accept that.
Motion made.
Clear that, bastard. President one.
On the draw.
So who's the second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
What's happening?
We're all trying to meet you.
Where are you been at? You all look so familiar.
Any objections? Thank you. So new business, consider approval of resolution 2021-001, policy to defend and identify.
Identify, make that motion. Goes.
Thank you.
I'll second the motion.
Do we have any discussion?
I
I,
couldn't understand what it really was
Yeah.
saying.
This is your manager being a worrywart. You're landlords now. Right?
Yep.
You're effectively landlords and you have a facility that you rent to the public. And that, in my estimation, means you need the added protection of being indemnified by the DDA for your actions for your local elections. So that if Molly represents the pavilion rental to someone and they feel that she didn't do it properly, but indeed she did, the DDA could be sued, the village could be sued, and Molly could be sued. And I think that's an unfair position to put any DDA volunteer board member in. So that essentially this resolution says that the DDA would use its assets to indemnify, which means to both defend and indemnify you. You would be appointed an attorney and you have the financial assets of the DDA rather than your own.
The village council did this also.
I did this with the council in 2014, 15. Yes.
my question was, I guess I assumed or hadn't thought of it, that, so there's not an indemnification clause in our bylaws.
Correct. There is
Correct.
not.
Oh, okay. Then, yeah, for sure.
Would we be amending the bylaws going forward through this act, or is that something separate that we?
That would be separate, but the indemnification resolution would stand on its own.
Okay. And would it just go for current board members, or would that happen?
No, the way that it's been written, it includes both current board members, and then once, if you leave the board and there's an action, you're still indemnified.
Is this protection for like all aspects of what we do or just the railroad square?
All aspects as a DDA board member, it's not really specifically just Railroad Square. But that was what crossed my mind. When I started to notice Molly's name come up a lot about the pavilion, talking about renting it out, you guys need the protection, so that's the reason I'm forwarding this.
Can you give us an example of a suit that's been brought in the past? So I was trying to think of some of the scenarios where that has come up, and I couldn't, you know, the oven blows up in their face or something. Is it something like that? Is it?
So here's a good example, John. I mean, it's just an example. So say for in my case, someone contacted me and they wanted to rent the pavilion, and I said, yes, it's available. But then someone else contacted me and said, well, there's someone pending. But this person waits 3 weeks before I get anything back from them. So I move on, and if they don't respond to me after a few emails, I move on and of course tell them if I don't hear from you by a certain date, I am moving on to the next person. Well, this person may have hired a caterer for that date and now has an expense. Now they sue me because they can't have that date. The DDA, as long as I'm doing something within the scope of my work and I'm doing it legally and not fraudulently, the DDA would hire an attorney for me and represent the whole DDA, not just me, but so I'm in that lawsuit. Is that helpful?
Yes.
Okay.
So you could be sued both in your position as a DDA board member and individually. And this is to cover you if you're sued, also named individually. Molly could be representing the pavilion to someone they feel she violated their civil rights because she didn't, for whatever reason. And they would sue the DDA, they would sue all the members of the DDA. And then they could potentially sue any individual as a private individual. And then your assets are at risk.
And in addition, this is just a more specific way to double rank ourselves. Our village insurance policy does cover volunteers, so that umbrella probably would cover us as volunteers with the DDA board. However, as we have learned from past experiences, they don't always cover you when they should. So this is just a more specific way to be doubly covered.
And if the village were to move away from the present insurer, a future insurer may not offer that coverage as well. So you have to be acting within the scope of your official duty. And it can't amount to gross negligence. You have to still exercise care. And of course, you can't be bringing suit against the DDA itself and then expect to have an attorney purchased for you by the DDA to do that. But I think those things are all fairly obvious. And that it's for your actions in this role, and then if there's a claim made against you as an individual outside of this, after you're no longer on the board. So what I would suggest you do is if this resolution passes, you copy it and put it in your papers at home. You know, litigious society now.
Do we have any more discussion? So.
And then we'll worry about
Roll call.
Is it a roll call?
Yes, it is. Hariani,
Yes.
Wales,
Yes.
Yost,
yes.
Fowler,
Yes.
Nevedal,
Yes.
Roberts,
Yes.
Asho.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes. New business B, review and consider approval of amended road fee schedule.
Do we need a motion first, or can I just review it?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you. Discussion, please.
It's towards the back of the packet. Somebody look at that. Strike it for the sedan. What is it, 1, 2, 3, I think it looks like 5 or 6. Before the end of the packet.
Michael. It's towards the back.
Yeah, there you go, right there, Michael. So, what I did was I made the change to, if you see, it now says, resident or business, for renter groups. So both county resident or business, or non-county resident or business. And then down below, under cleaning deposit, is still $100, but cleaning service was just $50. I changed it to $50 per space.
Okay.
And then I added the food truck court fee schedule, which is the full season for $600 daily. Based on the committee, they recommended $100 a day, multiple days up to 7 days, with $100 a day from day 1 to 3, and then $50 a day, day 4 through 7. And if the board is in agreement with that fee schedule, or if they would like to make any changes, let me know.
My only question is, I think if we're making a decision on this today, do we want to take the question mark out from Wi-Fi?
Oh, we can, yeah. I'll take that out.
And then the food truck court, full season, should it say like per month?
Yes.
I do that too, thank you. I've looked at it so many
I know,
times.
there's a lot of words on it.
Looked at it like a million times, so. So those were the changes from the last time we reviewed this.
Do we have any discussion, any questions?
So the deposit, no matter what, so you pay a cleaning fee, and then you pay deposit cleaning.
Yep, so and then the cleaning deposit is an additional $100, just in case they leave it not in the condition it was in. So basically, if they leave a complete mess and it costs us more to have the cleaning service clean it, we're going to hold that until we pay the cleaning service. And then anything above that, they would have to pay. So anything left over, a balance, we would return to them.
Okay,
So
the deposit was 50% refundable. That would make me think that the deposit, I'm only getting half back no matter what.
oh, did you make that?
Yes, it's not.
Oh,
That's probably why you didn't notice it, because it was.
yeah.
So your place that's in addition to the cleaning fee.
Yeah, and I just think they should probably get their full deposit.
Yeah, I think we should give that, just the $100, give the deposit, $100 back if we don't have to have additional cleaning. Are you good with that?
Do you want to just cross this out?
Yeah, can we just
Yeah.
cross that out?
Just, like it's addressed for lower amount, so we can
Right.
just remove that.
And I can make,
more like notes I think up here, it was just
Okay.
stuff to keep in mind, and then it was up here because it was private, you know.
right, and I can put next to word cleaning deposit, and I can say refundable, based on
Inspection.
inspection.
Is it really a cleaning deposit though? What if something breaks that they're responsible for?
And then it's just deposit.
I can do that.
We just call it a
Well,
deposit.
and since we're doing this, where it's located under kitchen only, do we want to
Oh,
make it a little more clear that it's
Universal.
overall?
I think what we should do is maybe I should move it over under category of usage. Or
Additional considerations is kind of a column that's under.
it's under, yeah, I think what we do is, yeah, I think what we do is we make another one. Yeah. I think what we'll do is add another header here saying additional fees.
Okay,
And then put deposit, cleaning service and portage on under there, right?
Yeah.
And then have the dollar amount next to it. So see how it says on top additional considerations?
Mhm.
That's actually, the miscellaneous kitchen equipment rental was, well, we were thinking that we would rent out equipment and we're not doing that.
okay, so we're gonna
So,
remove that one.
Yeah, we can get rid of that one. So all of these items are actually under additional considerations. That's the column it's under, if you look at the header on top. So the additional considerations is a deposit, cleaning service. We'll take away portage on provision because, oh, no. That's in consideration, yeah. Tables and chairs, picnic tables only provided is what we're trying
We
to
can
do.
cross out Wi-Fi, if we, want to clean it up, we can just get rid of that section.
So will there not be Wi-Fi?
We're still trying to figure out how to Wi-Fi across Railroad
But
Square.
not presently.
Okay.
And then, so the third column says fees for column B.
Oh, that was.
Do we need to just,
I'm just gonna make that piece.
okay. And so then so under the kitchen only, under both additional considerations and fees, we're gonna be removing those two items, the cleaning fees and then the deposit 50 with 50% refundable, and we're going to make a new header down below.
Yeah, down below additional fees. And then that way, it'll all be under, that would include every single, and I can put an asterisk, so that way, and put an asterisk along, like kitchen, under each header, I can put an asterisk, so then they have to go with the additional fees. So that way, if that makes it a bit more clearer for everybody.
It's a good idea.
And what we decide about the cleaning deposit?
It's just gonna be a deposit and a cleaning, it's a regular deposit. They're not gonna specify for what, it's just a deposit. You get it back if you're nice. And you pay for your.
Did we say rated and return?
We put refundable based on inspection, is what I'm going to put right next to that $100, yeah.
And then there's gonna be an actual cleaning service charge that I pay for.
That's non-refundable, and I can also make on there, just so it's clear, I'll put next to that non-refundable.
Are you gonna be like sending everyone checks back or is it not?
We'll probably have to send checks back because it's easier to do it that way versus holding everybody's check here. So we would I'll probably have the village receipt it in under Railroad Square. And then we will cut checks based on Railroad Square expenditures.
So that way they wouldn't have to have two separate checks, one for the fees and one for the deposit.
And is there going to be electronic ability for payment?
Not right now because, actually, the village does take electronics, so it's going to have, the fees are gonna have to come to the village. So technically, yes, as long as the village is okay with taking those deposit credit, in a credit card form.
Pretty easier to mandate that.
Mandate is a credit card.
Some of
Some people don't use credit cards.
Yeah, and some of the nonprofits it might be inconvenient.
And some of the, some people who say a business who might rent it may not have a credit card to use, so they actually have to use a check. And then a lot of public municipalities or public offices need to cut a check for recording purposes versus using credit cards. So I don't think we can mandate credit card only. It makes it easier, but I don't think and there's a lot of older folks who don't use credit cards still. And there's actually low-income folks who can't qualify for credit cards also, so.
I use my gold.
So do we need to make a amendment to the motion before we make a roll call? To accept the changes that we did?
You did?
I did as amended.
Okay.
Pretty big, isn't it?
Oh, it's funny because it was review and consider approval of amended railroad square fee schedule already. So it's actually just continue being amended. I'll just keep it as amended. Too confusing. Okay, so are we?
Cool.
And then second, these two, oh, so we didn't have to do anything. Yeah, so we are ready for roll call, please.
Okay. This is 9B. Wales?
Yes.
Jost?
Yes, thank you for all the hard work on this.
You're welcome. Holler?
Yes.
Nevadal?
Yes.
Roberts?
Yes.
Ashel?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Ariani?
Yes.
And for everyone, for all of the committees and everyone. This has been a lot of work, everything that we're working on, so. Great job. Appreciate it. Consider approval to apply to be Community Development Fellowship host.
I'll make that motion so we can discuss it.
I'll second the motion.
Thank you. And discussion?
So this technical assistance is what it's called. It is coming through the RRC program. And it's only RRC certified or RRC participate. Engaged, thank you. Engaged municipalities can apply for this. So what it is they have 10. They're looking for 10 host sites. They've done 10 previously, 2 years ago. And so they're looking for 10 different sites that can host what they're calling a community development fellowship person. And this individual, they have all of the program itself is already, there's a process for it. And they would, if we are selected, the community would be the one who would advertise, interview, and hire with the help of CDAM and MEDC, kind of mentoring us to hire this individual if we are chosen. This individual would be assigned to that host city for 18 months. And we would have to provide a desk and a location for them and equipment so that they can do their job. And we would create a work plan for this individual and decide what he or she would be working on. So they could work on, say, the trailhead, looking for grants, the streetscape, the alleyway, all of the projects that we're working on, creating the process or documenting the process for Railroad Square, all of those things, he or she could be
Helping with the website.
helping us with. So it's basically a third staff person working 40 hours a week. And our match is $6,000, and the individual actually, I think their salary is, I think it was 62,000 is their salary, and that would be
18 months.
for 18 months. 15 months. And that would be paid by CDM or MEDC.
Is this a graduate student? Or someone already in the private sector?
We would determine who that is. So it could be anyone in the private sector, it could be a new grad. There are criteria that CDM and MEDC has in their application process. So they would have to meet those requirements.
But
Whomever it is.
they're not providing a pool of candidates.
No, they will
They're not
advertise.
individuals that already work.
No, they would advertise it for us, and these individuals may come from another city, and we don't have to provide housing. They would have to come here and find their own housing if we so choose to hire them.
What's
Again,
the
it's really
hourly-
just, I'm sorry,
What does the hourly rate work out to?
I didn't even calculate what that hourly rate
It's
is.
62.5 for 15 months.
So it's a $20 an hour job roughly.
Yeah, roughly
But
20.
now at 40 hours, we obligated to provide benefits and so on.
No, because they're technically not our employee,
So
and
it's
it would be under
contractual.
CDM. They are actually the ones paying them. The money, it would be under their payroll, not ours, is my understanding. But again, this is just for us to apply. We may not get it. I would like us to at least apply to see if we can get that third person with minimal costs to the DDA.
And it's $6,000 over the entire 15-month period.
Uh-huh.
That's
That's
$6,000 a year.
quite,
The person doesn't work out, what obligations do we have? Or do we not know that yet?
We do not know that yet,
But there's gotta be a venue for that.
right?
So you're just asking for the opportunity to at least apply.
I'm asking the DDA board to the opportunity to apply and approve if we do get chosen, to set aside $6,000 for our match, and at the same time the support that we provide a work plan and help provide the skill set and the tools necessary for this person to be able to be successful.
I get all that, that sounds reasonable, but committing us to actually hire this person at this point, not knowing what the other terms are, is a little bit of a stretch.
Right, you can always turn it down, even if you get accepted.
Okay.
When
will we know
you
the,
get the details, like how do you dismiss someone?
Sure.
You get all that before you sign the actual document.
Well, as long as the board has the understanding that my motion is not to hire that person right now. whoever that
No,
person is.
no, my request is just to apply.
Okay.
So I'm asking the board for approval to just apply, not to accept, but to apply. And if we get accepted and the board agrees, we pay the $6,000, because there's a monetary. We can always make that a request later if we actually get accepted.
We can request the
The funds later if we get
selected.
accepted.
So it's just approval to apply.
Okay.
And the application deadline is the 23rd of April?
Yes, and I already downloaded the application, and there is a webinar on the 8th that I'm going to be attending, and to get more information, and maybe that would be a question that I would ask this. If we were selected and the individual that we hire turns out to not be compatible, what is the exit plan?
And
So
they make their
Well, it's
announcement on
truly
the-
their employee. Whether it's our employee or their employee.
it's really their employee.
So in comp, everything, that's all them.
But I can ask that question, Scott, so that way we have a.
Good business dictates that we explore that, so.
Yep.
Okay, awesome.
And is this,
I don't think it's a roll call because we're not putting in the money.
oh, it is, it is
It,
an
it,
application.
it's an application because the DDA, I'm doing it on behalf of the DDA. So it actually should be a roll call, so that, because the DDA board should support the application for this technical support.
So what's the motion say?
The motion is motion by Yost, second by Pariani, to approve applying to be a community development fellowship host site for 2021-2022 with a match of $6,000.
So when you, submit the application, you have to submit the 6,000
No,
at
no,
that
no,
time?
no, no,
Okay.
it's only if we get accepted and we accept. So first, we have to be one of the sites, like they have to say, okay, Kalkaska DDA, you will be one of our sites. Do you accept all the conditions of having a fellow at your site? And at that point, we have to determine whether or not we accept all the conditions required for us to be a host site. So we don't do the $6,000 until we actually accept. And that $6,000 may be at the end. I don't know. I'll hopefully have more information on Thursday. It's basically 6,000 is what the host site would have to put in
It looks like
for the site.
they're not even doing the host community selection until May
May,
10.
right, until
So
time
we
is
can
coming.
probably shelve the monetary portion until May 4 meeting, because we would have more information then.
Well, it's really up to the board. I think by applying, we're saying that we would give that match if we so choose to accept it, right? So how do I want to say this? I don't want to apply without the board saying we would match that grant. It's like applying for a grant, that's basic. So if I apply for a grant, the board has to say, if you get the grant, we're gonna give you the $10,000. So you're setting aside that amount of money. I don't want to apply and say, well, I don't have the money. Does that make sense?
Well, I think the term is more if we accept the grant.
Right.
We can get the grant, but not necessarily accept this. Because we'll want to know what the
Potential
conditions
into
are.
the motion.
I'm sorry,
Can you add the word potential matching $6,000?
with a potential match, yep, with a potential
When you
match
set
of $6,000? Okay,
So we'll commit that money in our budget.
right.
Who's going to do the budget?
Because that might be a question that they ask on the application, have you gotten approval from your board for the funds?
It might be, yeah.
Because that's pretty often, you want to know what the money is up front, so.
And that's a good solution.
And we'll need a budget amendment also.
At some point.
That's some future. Okay. Yeah, just as long as we retain control over this process, we're not committing right now to actually place this person. So we have control, and we know what the requirements are. It's federal money, requirements that are.
Yeah, I just wanted the
I
opportunity
think
to
this is
apply.
Michigan funds.
It is Michigan. It is Michigan, it's under
Probably
Michigan.
Bring the requirements too.
But again, because the deadline is in April, I wanted to at least have the opportunity.
Well,
What's the roll call?
Are you ready?
Yes, please.
Yost,
yes.
Holler?
Aye.
Nevedal?
Yes.
Roberts?
Yes.
Ashon?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Pariani?
Yes.
Wales?
Yes.
So new business, consider approval to purchase 18 picnic tables for Railroad Square.
That's a little misnomer. We need 18 altogether and we actually have 4.
Okay.
So we need to purchase 14.
Okay,
To match the ones that already exist. Everybody's supposed for $149.99 everywhere. Fireman Fleet is willing to give them to us for $119.99, $30 off a piece. That comes out to $1,680, which is way under where I thought we'd be. I also would like to add to that request, and I forgot to bring it up before. $3,000 for smallware. We have to start equipping the kitchen. John helped us put together a list of what we need to do to be able to cater out of there. sheet pans, pots, pans, spoons, ladles, whisks, a mop squeegee. There's just a list. And we took the list that John and I put together, and Dan Bloomquist met Gaynell and I over there in the actual kitchen and got a lot better grip on what he needed to literally cater out of there. And there's so many different layers of product and expense. You know, you can buy a $120 sheet pan and you can buy a $22 sheet pan. And we need, I'm just looking at, that's about the range that it appears we're going to need. And we're going to need to start populating that kitchen very soon. Dan suggested that we go through GFS because they deliver and they have that same range of product. And so I'd like to, beyond 1680 for the table, I'd like to add 3,000 to that request for smallware to populate the kitchen.
I'll make that motion. So
I'll second.
Thank you.
So my only question is, nice picnic tables, hopefully.
Yeah,
Beautiful facility. And
they're the gray ones with the black frame, which matches all the gray around there and the black of the benches and they're collapsible so we can store them easily. They're also fairly lightweight. So like the Trout Festival doesn't want to use picnic tables. They've enlisted, excuse me, McLean's to bring in tables and chairs. You can just take the picnic tables and set them out on the sidewalk. And then when the doors open, you have this really kind of cool setup. And two people can move really easily.
well, when this came up, brought it up, and I said I would like to see it on the agenda for board consideration because hopefully at some point down the road we're thinking of something nicer than picnic tables, but this is the starter pack, so to speak.
Well, when you get to different events, there's all kinds of different tables that might be needed. Banquets, large rounds, high tops. And to get to be able to supply the tables for every kind of function, you'd have to have a pretty big storehouse, and a bunch of money. You can seat 6 people at a picnic table for $120. The next chair is 40. You can't even, for twice that, and you don't get a table. I did some rough math, and we could spend $30,000 buying tables and chairs and not have anywhere.
Your experience in the hospitality industry, that's showing, so I withdraw any concern about picnic tables.
And they're easy to move too, so people can easily put them outside and then supply their own if they went to like a restaurant.
Well,
Awesome.
And it's tough to store, not just the tables, because the table is one thing, but it's the chairs also, where this is collapsible. And
That's just painted the picture in my mind of all the different varieties you need. So go here and there it is.
And if they don't want picnic tables, there's a rental service one block away.
Okay, awesome. And I'll modify that motion then to include Cash's request, saying not to exceed $500 for kitchen supplies.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, 3,500, yeah.
Okay.
There we go. All right. I amended that.
Any more discussion?
They're kind of a plastic. We've had,
So zero.
zero maintenance.
And they're weather resistant.
Yeah,
So if they didn't want, like someone wanted to get their own tables, we can put them out on the green space, and if it's raining, it's not going to.
we've had them sitting outside since before I got here, and they're still usable.
I presume you could pressure wash them to refresh them.
Mhm.
Awesome.
They're kind of concrete gray with a black frame, and they fold up flat too. So when you store them for winter, they fold up flat and you just line them up. It's really a nice product. And it's a company called White Cotton.
Are we ready? Okay, thank you. Pollard,
Yes.
Nevedal,
Yes.
Roberts,
Yes.
Ashon.
Yes.
Johnson. Ariani,
Yes.
Wales,
Yes.
Yost.
Yes.
So, new business, we're gonna talk about the DDA storage unit.
But it's, you know,
Yes, if you were to.
by this time next year, actually by the end of this year, I expect to see our police department about doubled in size and a good place to put all these folks. And there's quite a bit of stuff that's stored both the Trout Festival and DDA and other bodies back in the police department garage. And I'd like to ask that the DDA rent a storage unit if possible and start moving that stuff out if possible, including the big purple chair, because everything needs space.
I talked to Nick, and we came up with maybe a difference, you know, storage units, ongoing expense like forever. What about the concept of on the south end of the DPW building in that space where there's kind of a bunch of stuff not doing much, that we get a storage shed?
Yeah, absolutely. That works.
Well,
I'll lease property to you.
Let me start getting some prices there, because I have to do a price search for the bike garage too, so, next meeting I'll have a grip.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Speaking of bike garage, I think we got 4 bikes to 4 different people have them.
Yeah, so I'm aware of one call in the library as far as interest and, not 4.
Yeah, I think we're up to 4 different folks that have come in. Have you guys seen the bicycles?
And
They are very
purposely-
nice.
Yeah, and everybody thinks it's a great program, and kind of on purpose, I haven't done anything at the schools because I didn't want to create a stampede and then have a whole bunch of disappointed kids and just a couple of them. So I was gonna let it alone, just gonna pursue.
So the other thing about the bike library is, on Norte's website, they've created a Kalkaska bike library portion of it. And they do have a tab you can click on and make donations. I think the site was only up for one day and they already had a $500 donation. So if someone isn't in need of their stimulus check, just consider it.
Like,
Or a
you should-
portion
You
of
should see
the
these bikes, they're specialized.
How many bikes do you guys have?
12.
Well, they're nice bicycles, an entire range too, all specialized.
Are we done with, are we done with E?
Tiny like this.
Oh,
We're considering the storage shed?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
It's just that
thank
about
you.
storage
So
shed.
I'm putting this under old business, blue bike library.
Yeah.
There's some Mission Creek too.
Chit chat.
Can we start, like, put it on our website, start promoting that?
we could.
If you guys want it, we can add a blurb on it.
Yeah, that would be more of the merrier. They're trying to raise $6,000 for a nice shed to actually put at the library.
Okay, we should totally promote that, yeah.
In the police garage. So they make a reservation through the library or Northgate, and then that information gets sent here, and then we gotta get them out of the garage. It's really clumsy. But if we get a nice storage shed and put it in that green space just north of the library, that'd really be the ticket. Well, unlock, you know, here's the reservation, well, unlock it, give them a bike, you're gone. And, you know, this is a trial run. We're trying to take a do before we die.
That might be next year. Alright, no, that's great information.
Oh,
It's pretty exciting. Should we have anything, I have nothing for old business, anybody have anything for your information?
okay, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, it's fine. I noticed, I was watching the village council meeting and there was some comment of how our DDA members aren't seen in a lot of places and stuff like, not going to businesses and whatnot. But I was wondering, can all of us get like the ID? Because I do feel like we go places and people just might not know who we are. How do I get one?
Are do they need the DDA board members or the DDA itself? Because I go to the businesses often.
It was,
Oh.
a couple
I think
board
the
members
president and I
mentioned.
have addressed some of that
Yeah, okay.
concern also privately, but it's still there. It's certainly a sentiment, but I think we have started to address it. But as far as IDs, yeah, we can do this for you.
Contact Faith.
Contact Faith.
I think just it would help, like if we're at Trout Festival to
Sure.
wear IDs and stuff like that.
Contact Faith at the village office. Good idea.
So I just wanted to say that the Trout Festival is selling Trout Festival tickets and armbands starting today, on the north side of the museum parking lot.
We are all done.
I knew I had some very, just quickly,
Sorry.
for the 150th anniversary of the town, my piece of that is video and oral history that we're putting together. And right now, we're looking for really good interviewees. So these are folks who have spent their lives in Kalkaska and would be really good candidates to be video interviewed for what life was like in Kalkaska as far back as they can. That's in essence, that's what we're doing. We'd like to shoot the interviews, the footage, in May or perhaps early June, and then have a month or two to edit the footage. So it's going to be packaged up in a really nice DVD. It'll be on the library website. Part of it's a local history project. But I'm not a native, and you guys, I've been asking around who would be really good candidates to be interviewed. So if you have any ideas, please shoot me an email. I'd appreciate it.
Contact the Historical Society. They may have some resources too.
Yeah, so we're trying to work through all that. But yes, if you have someone in particular you think would be a good candidate, please let me know.
Thank you. I am going to go ahead and adjourn the meeting. Thank you, everyone. It's nice to see everybody in person.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Allison, you good?
I think so.
All right.
I think I heard most of it. I think I was curious about, I put it in the chat, the board has the Facebook rename.
Yes.